I hate that thing. So that also means Ralph, you're up first. It looks like you were needing to leave anyway. So see
That
how
works out.
see how we did you there.
That works out beautiful. The time gods are shining upon me.
It only
But
happened.
I do apologize. Normally, I do like to stay.
Hey man, it is what it is, man. This will get viewed by more people than you'll expect sometimes. They listen to it. It's not totally great yet, but we'll be there one day. You'll get a couple hundred people to see you tonight.
Sweet.
There we go. Welcome to Laughing Through Recovery. We have a great lineup of comics tonight. We have sober comedians telling you great jokes about the recovery and giving you a laugh at the same time. So tonight we have a lineup of mostly East Coast comedians. I'm not gonna lie, our headliner's coming in from California, but I guess it's you got to be sober on the East Coast more than the West Coast. I already know that how that works. We're a little more than lenient too. Tonight we've got Ralph out, Anthony out of New York City, New York. We've got Shara, Jesus, Sarah Snyder out of Chicago, Illinois. Josh D. Donato out of Atlanta, Georgia. Our headliner tonight is Kim Clevenger out of Los Angeles, California. And give it up for your host tonight, all the way out of Chicago, Illinois, Kim Cook.
Yeah.
Woo!
Yeah. What?
And welcome, yes, to the second ever Laughing Through Recovery. Comics on this show have cleaned up their lives, but maybe not their acts. This is a super hot lineup, and yes, I'm going to be your host for the evening, Kim Cook. And yeah, my first name is Kim, and that's Kim. It's not Karen. By now, you all know Karen, right? Like, hi, I'm an uptight, entitled white woman. You can find me at Target, not wearing a mask, but wearing a live, laugh, love t-shirt. And I rock the oh so edgy haircut, the reverse middle-aged mullet. Business in the back, party up front. Yeah. You guys know the haircut I'm talking about, right? Yeah, the one that looks like it would return a salad. Yeah, it's like, I'm on keto. I said no croutons. Now, let me tell you guys a little secret. Before COVID, I totally had that haircut. This is how long it's been going on. Yeah. So instead of having a haircut that says, I need to speak to a manager, instead it says, hey, all you cool cats and kittens. I said my last husband to a tiger. Mm-hmm. I am rocking the Carol Baskin. Yes. You guys, I am happy to announce I have not had an adult beverage in over 13 years.
Ooh.
Do you know how hard it was to quit Metamucil? Okay, no. Of course I mean booze. That's what this show is about, right? The hard thing about drinking was the strain that it put on all of my closest relationships, like my family, my friends, and all of the pizza delivery places in a 5-mile radius. Yeah. I would get drunk and I'd order pizza and then I'd promptly pass out. I'd be like, yes, I need a small pizza and a large man. Are you a large man? Oh, an extra sausage on both. Yeah. And I like my pizza like I like my men, hot, not too crusty. Yeah. I pass out, and then the next morning I'd have several voicemails like, Kim, this is Pizza Hut. We can hear you snoring. Yeah, answer the door. It's the third time this has happened this week. So I got banned from Pizza Hut, Domino's, and Papa John. He just stopped returning my calls. So it's kind of sad. But you guys, I recently had a big birthday. Yeah, I just turned P when I sneeze years old.
Yeah.
It's such a milestone, let me tell you. And speaking of middle age, has anybody here watched the Friends reunion? Yeah, aka a cautionary tale of Botox gone wrong. I feel like Jennifer Aniston and Courtney Cox look less like, Rachel and Monica and more like a cat. Yeah. Smelly cat. I don't know. I'm just kind of thinking about it. I admit, I watched it and I thought I put together a little song in honor of the Friends reunion and then me turning P when I sneeze years old or middle age. Here it is. All right. You guys ready? There's some fun stuff for you right here. Hop along. So no one told you life was gonna be this way. You're over 40, oh lordy, menopause is on its way. It's like you're always sore for no reason. Diet's a jerk, don't work, and you're heavier than when you began. Because this is middle age. Where did you put your phone? This is middle age. When you get up, you have to grow. This is middle age. Where my youth in no. You're still binge watching Netflix, just one more episode. Breaking Bad, Downton Abbey, when did we get this old? It's like that hair on your chin is getting so damn long. You're always tired wearing sweatpants and just want to finish this song because this is middle age. Where did you put your phone? This is middle age. Where your youth when it's unknown. And I know where my youth went because I was drinking. Woo! All right, you guys. Are you ready for the rest of your hot lineup here?
Woo-hoo.
Okay. All right. So this next comic coming to the Zoom stage is all the way from New York City. Yep. I don't know why I said that. I'm from Texas. Get a rope. Okay. So and he's performed at the New York Comedy Festival and on Sirius XM. Please give it up for Ralph Anthony.
Hey,
Woo! Woo!
all right. Yeah, thank you so much. Like him, I understand Friends. Great show. Definitely felt like a fucking smelly cat many times after a hard night of going out. Oh boy. Man, you drink too much, you'll wake up next to a smelly cat and you're like, this is dirty pussy. You're like, this is gross. What is wrong with me? Yes, I love the idea of the show. I think it's fucking awesome. I'm such a big fan. Such a big fan. I mean, listen, I love drugs. It was always a fun time for me, but I always found that it was hard to have sex on drugs. Like when I would smoke weed and try to have sex, I would get hungry. When I would do coke and try to have sex, I couldn't get it up. But the hardest drug to have sex on was mushrooms, because when I would eat mushrooms and try to have sex, my dick keeps floating away. Like the other comics on this show, I am sober.
Woo!
Yeah, thank you. But it's a little different for me because I am comedian sober. Very different than regular sober. Comedian sober means I still drink and smoke weed. I just don't do coke anymore.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, I did so much coke that I deviated my own septum. Yeah, I didn't know like that was an actual thing. I didn't know you could do that. Complete shock. I watched my septum. I watched it shoot out of my nose like a t-shirt out of a gun during a college basketball game. Just shoot right out. And then this little pretty feature I got going on turned into the elevator scene from The Shining. You're just like, I don't know. How do you clean this up? Like, I didn't know. How do you clean this up? How? Do I get a bucket? Do I get a mop? Do I get a Swiffer wet jet? Like, how do you clean your face and your carpet from blood? It was very frightening. Very frightening. But I never saw that coming. Like, I didn't think I was doing that much coke. I never thought that it was that much of a problem. But I should have realized, like, at the point where I was doing so much coke that when I would blow my nose, it looked like Columbia in the tissue. I mean, some people think that's offensive, but I think it's a great way for a high school kid to learn geography. And I joke around about drinking and weed, and it's not even like I drink that much. Like, I barely drink anymore. Like, I've had, I think, 3 drinks in a year. I don't drink that much. Like, I knew that it was getting to be a problem when my BAC was higher than my credit score. See, because it was always my go-to. Like, I used to do coke and then I would drink. That was how it went. It went hand in hand. It was like the peanut butter and jelly sandwich of, like, the junkie world. Like, because that's really where I was going. That was the adventure land that I was trying to play in. I feel like the 4 of us in here, like, I feel like Josh was a big ball of fun back in the day. I feel like Josh and I might have been best friends, best drinking buddies. Oh man, it'd be so much fun. It would be so much fun because that's what it was when I would drink and do coke. I would have a great time. I would drink forever, but I would never remember anything. Never remember anything. And that was my problem. I used to black out too much. Not that there's an acceptable point of blacking out, like, the people are like, you know what, I blacked out 5 times. Like, that's too much. I think blacking out once is just too much. The last time I blacked out, Kim Clevenger was wild. It was so wild. I woke up in the nicest hotel room that I had ever seen. The sheets were the comfiest sheets that I'd ever laid in. And they even had this funky little alarm clock right next to the bed. Maybe you guys heard of this hotel. It's called St. Luke's Hospital. That was wild. I ordered 1 drink and I was wearing a 3-piece suit and I woke up butt naked in a hospital gown. How does that happen? I don't know. I don't know how these things occur. I woke up to 4 Jamaican women staring at me and they were not happy. No. And the first thought I had was, wow, this is not how I expected this fantasy to start. My second thought was, wow, this is the worst Sean Paul music video I've ever seen in my entire life. I grew up in a very pro-weed household. I think that was my thing. I got into drugs very early on in life, because when I was 16, my father told me, he said, Ralph, I'd rather see you with a joint in your hand than a beer. And I was just like, what, officer? But see, what I didn't realize, though, was when I was 16, my dad was 46, and 46-year-old men just don't know where to buy weed. So that's the way that I was raised. So it blows my mind. Like, here we are, it's 2021, and people would always say that smoking weed leads to harder drugs. Like, what? That's nonsense. Because if anything, smoking weed leads to diabetes. Right? Because no one gets high and wants to eat healthy food. No, that's strange, right, Sara Snyder? It's fucking weird. No one's smoking a joint and then going to do laps around the salad bar at Whole Foods. No, I'm smoking a joint and then going down to my bodega to see if I could stuff a Twix and a Twinkie and then roll it in jelly beans. Like, that's where I'm at. That's where I'm at. It's and the funny thing is, like, you know, I always love weed, I always love coke, but they're so completely opposites. They're completely different. You know, like with weed, you know, when you've reached the finish line, you know that there's an ending point. You're like, you know what? I'm all set. I'm too high. I can't do this. But there's no finish line with coke. Like, you don't know when to stop doing coke until you run out of coke. It's either that or you feel like your heart's going to come through your chest. You're like, what? Is this not how you do this? Am I doing this wrong? Can someone call 911? Why is my ass sweating? The complete opposite of weed. Like with weed, what happens? You smoke, you get high, and then you get the munchies. You're like, you know what? I could go for a blooming onion. Or maybe I could stuff a Twix, maybe stuff a Twix and a Twinkie and then roll it in jelly beans. It sounds like a flavorful adventure. But with coke, all you want to do is have sex. That's it. So you're blowing lines, you're looking for girls. 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 Then you find a girl. And now you're doing coke, she's doing coke, you're doing coke, she's doing coke off of you, you're doing coke off of her. And then you decide to have sex, but yet that memo doesn't get to your dick. Your dick's like, hey, buddy, we left this party like an hour ago. Oh my God, so much fun. So much fun. You guys are fun, man. This is great. I feel like this is like the best AA meeting I've ever been to. Right? Just like me. What's going on right now? So much fun. So much fun. Listen, like I always said, I love weed. I love weed. That's probably my favorite. It's the one thing that keeps me sane for everything else. Like, you know, if I have weed, I don't worry about coke. I don't worry about booze. I don't worry about anything like that. I love it, but I can't keep up with the names. Like can we just like, listen, it's fucking weed, okay? No one needs to hype it up anymore. Weed does not need a marketing plan. It sells itself. But there's so many crazy names. There's so many crazy names. Like they have weed that's called strawberry cough. Strawberry cough, like that doesn't sound like a strain of weed to me. That sounds like a redheaded stripper from Cincinnati with emphysema. They have weed that's called New York City Diesel. It's gritty. It's authentic. It'll smack you in the face if you stare at it for too long. And then they have AK-47. And that's just a fan favorite of most white male high school students.
Oh.
All right, you guys have been a lot of fun. My name is Ralph Anthony. Keep up your host, Ms. Kim Cook. Thank you.
All right. Keep it going, you guys. Woo! All right. So our next comic coming to the Zoom stage is from Chicago. And I've had the honor of performing with her several times on Zoom. And I met her in real life on Thursday. So that was pretty cool. She exists, you guys. Please give it up for Sara Snyder.
Thanks. Yeah, I remember like hitting you up, Kim, like probably a year or two before COVID. Like someone told me to hit you up as like another sober comedian, probably Laura. And I messaged you on Facebook and we were like, yeah, we'll go to an open mic together. And I was like, I'm never going to an open mic with her, probably. Like, I wasn't going to an open mic with anyone. It's like I don't know, man. Doing comedy sober was a little hard for me at first, like because alcohol made things easier a little bit, but then by the end of the night, it would kind of be like, wow, I just crushed everything I built. So yeah, it was just one of those really chaotic best friends. It was like being best friends with like someone who has borderline personality disorder. Like, oh, this is awesome. And oh, you fucking hate me now. Okay, I see. Um, I've been learning a lot about borderline personality disorder because I think my mom and my older brother have it. My boyfriend diagnoses people with stuff like that, and we've both decided that that is what it is in my family that they're having, um, which kind of is like it. It made things feel easier for me to be like, you know what, they have borderline personality disorder. It was like, oh, okay, so I really everything they say that's bananas, I don't have to take it in anymore because I could just be like, wow, you are ill and you are trying to start things with me. But of course in a way that's like, I am also ill. And it's really easy, it's just really easy to start things with me in general. Like, um, every time I get my hair cut, afterwards when they're telling me like, okay, maybe come back in like 6 to 8 weeks, get a trim, get a toner, every single time I'm like, are you threatening me? Like, are you like, because now it seems like you're expecting me to come in between 6 to 8 weeks and I'm gonna wait until my hair looks awful. Like now you're being salesy and I will just be like, I'll make the appointment later. Like, no. And I get every time my face just goes like, what are you doing? Why are you telling me this? Why are you telling me this? Like, I'm never gonna come back when you tell me to. Just those are just the kind of thoughts that I have. Also, like, I know like when I'm not doing well based on how I'm behaving towards my boyfriend. Like today we were watching Jeopardy and every time he got something wrong, I laughed at him. I was like, you fucking idiot. Like insane because I was jealous that he was getting so many things right. um yeah, also like when I got the first vaccine, I was like, I want the second one right now. I was like, just put it in the other arm. Like, I don't know if you guys feel like this, but as an alcoholic, I'm like, I can fucking handle them both right now, Like we don't have to wait. I'm not one of those people who has to wait. Like I can handle it all right now. Like I will DIY a hospital bed myself this weekend. I know how to do it. Like I know how to stay in bed all day long. I also love being a victim, so like any excuse to do that is fun. My life before and after getting sober is like just completely different. Like I used to actually bully people. I unbelievable, right? Now I only bully myself.
Yeah.
Just a total cunt to myself. Like, when you're like, sometimes when I'm listening to my friends and like the kind of thoughts they're having, I'm like, can you imagine? Like my friend who's pregnant keeps calling herself fat, and I'm like, can you imagine calling another pregnant woman fat?
Yeah.
Like you would never do that. Like I would never tell someone after a stand-up set that they did that was like, all right, I would never be like, you're probably not gonna make it. You're just not good enough. But I also used to like when I was drinking, I got sober before or when I was like 21. And before that, I would date the kind of guys that were like known as the scummiest guys in school and like the ones who would get expelled. Kim Clevenger, you know,
Yeah.
yeah, you're nodding. How do you say your last name? Clevenger?
Clevenger.
Clevenger, sorry. Yeah. You've got red lipstick on. I'm like, she knows. Like you do you have kids? Cause you're some kind of MILF for sure. Like that must be what's keeping you looking so good.
Yeah.
Not having kids.
Woo.
Yeah, you look great. I'm who else wants to be hit on a little bit right now? Josh, Josh, I've always wondered about the map that you have of the United States. I'm always like, does he live in a classroom?
It's called a vision board, Sarah. Learn it.
No.
Oh.
What? That doesn't make any sense.
I want to travel around the United States to do stand-up comedy.
Oh.
Dude, there's probably an app for that, you know? If you and Laura move in together, I hope she like puts her foot down against that map. That's too big.
No. People over 40 know what paper things are.
I don't understand. Jay has a ping pong table, and you already know I wanted to get rid of that thing so bad. It was like, we have a 2-bedroom apartment. When I first started dating him, that was the only living room furniture he had was the ping pong table. I was like, I must like this guy a lot. And yeah, my boyfriend now is like the kind of guy who even before COVID always had hand sanitizer. Like this is the kind of man I date now. This is like I used to make fun of Virgos, hardcore, specifically Virgos, because I found them super annoying. Jay, his entire chart is Virgo. I'm like, wow. Sometimes when I'm really sick, I'm like, how did this happen? Like, I used to date just the worst kind of people, and now I'm dating a guy who is really good at Jeopardy. So straight. And his family is like super like healthy and normal. Like we've gone on vacation with them a couple times, and like it's almost boring to me. Like because I came from a family where, you know, we were getting, if we went on vacation together, it was like, ooh, no trauma. Like, and now when I'm on vacation with Jay's parents, I'm like, should I start some shit? It's been like 3 days and no one's yelled at all. I'm like, we're really just going to talk about the weather and the news, aren't we? Oh, we're going to pick a movie now? That's nice. Oh my God. Yeah, I'm going to stop there. Thanks.
All right, keep it going, everybody, for Sara Snyder. Woo-hoo! All right, so we are going to stay in Chicago. And this next comic, I like to introduce people whether or not I knew them before or after COVID. I knew her before, I knew her after, and I still do. All right. Keep it going for the very funny Laura Hugg.
Thank you. Thanks so much. I have the fan on. I didn't put my air on yet, but can you hear me without because it's going to look like I started doing coke again if I turn it off. I mean, it's sweating, it's like, am I on cocaine? Am I going through menopause? Is it both, I didn't realize this was a show. I was just tuning in to try to help Ralph get over his prop. I thought this was his intervention. I didn't know what was going on. I was like, a Zoom intervention. That seems super effective. So, no, it's great to be here. I appreciated Sarah not leaving before the miracle happened. A miracle happening with sober comedians is that somebody stays to see your set afterwards. You know, like, this show is after 8 and I have to rush home to bed now, you know, but I was thinking, you know, I also, you know, the romance, the dating and stuff, you know, I would say that dating was one of the things that I found the most challenging in the last areas of my life to get any recovery in, you know. I mean, there were some things that just happened right away that were great, but like my whole approach to romance was to drink till I blacked out and then drag home a creep, you know. Right, and hoped he felt the same way about me, you know. And then I got sober and it was a lot harder to black out on donuts and ranch dressing. Mostly I just got kind of gassy and my cholesterol you know, like not even a dizzy spell. I will tell you though, casual sex is a lot different wide awake, you know. I don't know how I feel about it, right? I'm glad I had so much of it when I was only half pregnant. So, yeah. So that actually led me to get, you know, depressed in recovery. And so finally I, you know, I started seeing a therapist after many years of sobriety. But, you know, I just kept dating these guys that like, I just had this, you know, I was dating a lot of guys with prison time. I mean, you know, and those relationships always ended up the same way. And, you know, teardrop tattoos, you know, so, and, all right, I kind of screwed that joke up, but it is the truth, you know. Yeah. And so I just wanted to break that cycle. So I finally was like, you know, let me talk to a therapist, you know. And so I called this therapist and, you know, I said, I've been experiencing depression. And she said, you feel depressed? I said, yes. She said, do you ever think about killing yourself? And I said, only when I want to feel better, you know, so don't take it away from me. It's my only coping skill. So, but you know, she was like, all right, let's talk about your, we got in there and I was like, all right, she's going to help me fix my dating life, you know, like, and then she's like, tell me about your parents. And I was like, oh, all right, well, I wouldn't say that I had parents, more like roommates, one of whom gave birth to me, you know. Am I right? So and yeah, so my parents were they weren't abusive, they were just they were neglectful. They didn't pay a lot of attention to me, you know, when I was growing up. So I got into trouble. You know, they didn't pay a lot of attention until I got really sick with chronic teen pregnancy. Wow, that's really fucked up, you know. So this set can go either way. It can either be funny or it can, you know, sometimes in a basement show, it can be me just telling a dark room full of strangers my drug history. You know, it was interesting. I mean, I am in several 12-step programs and, but a lot of my friends that were in those programs, you know, the ones that have lived, also went into therapy. And suddenly I found myself with like so many friends in therapy that I was able to form what I like to call therapy club. Doesn't that sound like fun? Yay! You know, if they're getting together with therapy club sounds like this. Hey, Nicole, how was therapy today? Oh, you recovered a memory that your mother dressed you as a boy your entire childhood? Wow, I have just remembered I was raised in a shed. You want to get Thai food? You know, therapy club where our motto is, hey, we were all molested. Let's eat. So, you know, that's the nice thing. I will say society tells you that, you know, once you hit 18 or you become an adult, like by at least the age of 21 in the United States, that you're responsible for your choices and and I feel that way in sobriety circles too. Like, we get sober and we're told that we have to take responsibility for our problems. But I'll tell you what, for anybody that doesn't have double digits, once you hit 10 years of sobriety, you can start blaming your family again. So nothing else, just hold on to that piece of hope, but no, I'm really grateful. I've gone to several 12-step programs. I've sponsored people in those programs. That's always a fun time. I sponsored a woman. I've sponsored people that were way smarter than I was. I don't, but like I sponsored a person who was an author. And I mean, look, I had a special education, including an extra year of high school, but I don't want to brag. Okay. I'm humble. So, but I sponsored this woman. She was an author. And so we were doing her fourth step, the moral inventory step. And she had footnotes. And she also, she had pictures of people that she resented so that I could get a context. I'm like, you know what? That's really great. But when we get to the sex inventory, you should probably just read it to me. Like, I wasn't sure what I was going to get there. Sometimes I get the texts mixed up. Like, if anybody has ever read the Big Book, I don't know what all people are using to stay, but I'm just going to do a little insider trading right now. I will tell you that I have read Bill's story so much, and I still get it confused with the story about the night before Christmas. I'm like, where is the part where Bill and Lois lay down for a long winter's nap, and Bill in his kerchief and Lois in her cap, and then he burst through the door? All right, yeah, I don't know. I get it mixed up, and then I'm like, was there a reindeer involved? Like, all right, that's I haven't said that part in a while. Thank you. I just got the light message. I appreciate that. Okay, was that my time? I'm going to go ahead and stop now because I just was messaged in the chat that it was time for me to stop, and I can take direction almost today. All right, I've been Laura Hugg. Thanks so much.
Woo! Keep it going, everybody. Laura Hugg. Woo! Yay, Chicago.
Yeah.
So this next comic coming up is bi-regional. Lives split the time between Atlanta and Chicago. He's performed at the Whale Comedy Festival in Tulsa and Burbank Comedy Festival. Please give it up for Josh DiDonato.
Woo!
Hey, thanks, Kim. Yeah, I guess. Well, so it's a lot of sober people on here, right? So I can do sobery stuff. Yeah. So okay. So I'm an alcoholic drug addict named Josh.
Hi, Josh.
Hi,
Hi,
Josh.
Josh.
My sobriety date is January 2nd, 2022. Yeah, no, I'm not ready yet, but took a day off today, out of respect. Yeah, no, I've been sober a while. It's cool, starting to get out and do, in-person shows again. I'm a month into getting the vaccine, and I'm just ready to be done with this COVID shit. I cannot wait to get back to worrying about getting cancer like a normal person. Get our priorities straight again. Yeah, it's interesting here. I was hearing. I'm just gonna say I would have said this if Ralph were still here. Throwing that out there, but the idea that Ralph is the idea of being sober and like smoking pot and saying that you're sober. I mean, if I could smoke pot and say I was sober, this would be a fucking cakewalk for me. You know what I mean? Pot is the thing that I miss the most, about not being sober. So It's just wild to me. I'm like, you could say you're sober, smoke pot and say you're sober. That's a new one. I gotta recalibrate here. Yeah, pot is increasingly being legalized around the country. I guess it's in my one place I live in Illinois. It's full on legal. It's technically medically legal here in Georgia. But there's no dispensaries. There's no place where you can get it. So it's like, if you find a bag of weed on the street in Atlanta, you're good. Otherwise, I don't see how you're going to be getting pot. But, it doesn't really matter if pot is legal, I mean, I don't know. It's like, if you love pot, you will locate and smoke pot. That's what I have found, like nobody's ever said, oh, my friend gave me this awesome joint for my birthday, but I don't know, it's illegal. Flush. I want to be groovy, but the laws of the land are more important. Nobody's ever said that, It's going to be full on legal in this country in the next few years, however you feel about it. And the fascinating thing about that to me is the culture change that's going to occur, like, think about it, 15, 20 years from now, there are going to be kids, parents who sit their kids down and say, you kids have it so easy. When I was your age, when we wanted pot, we had to call a guy. We couldn't just traipse down to Costco and stock up for the month. And we had to hang out with the guy too. Have you ever sat and listened to an hour and a half of Dave Matthews Band covers on acoustic guitar to get your drugs? That was no picnic. And you know how we used to have to do our pot? We used to have to smoke it. Yeah, we couldn't get it in a soda or a lip balm or a topical cream. Smoking's very bad for you, Bobby. Don't you ever let me catch you smoking your pot. When you're under my roof, you will eat it or drink it or rub it on yourself like everybody else. That is how we get high in this house, young man. If I find out you've been smoking your pot, you will lose your spaceship privileges. You want to take your robot girlfriend to watch a poor person get executed? You'll be on the bus, mister. All right. Some of you look a little confused there. That part of it was in the future. That's on me. It's in the writing, I guess. Yeah, it's interesting being sober and like, still being not a hermit, being out in the world and stuff. You go to parties and you don't want to be thought of as a killjoy, because somebody, offers you a drink or some weed or whatever, and you just, you don't want to say like, well, I'm a sober member of Alcoholics Anonymous, like, and just like bum everybody out. So something that I usually do is I just act super high, you know what I mean? Or just imply that I'm really, somebody offers me some pot, I'm just like, no, man, I'm good. Woo! No, you don't want to. If I have any more, I'm just woo. No, I'm good. I am like, oh no, oh no, I'm good. I'm cool. I'm good. No. Yeah, it's cool having some sober. We have some meeting people here, right? Yeah, it's let's give it up for the newcomer, the most important person in the room, unless you're looking for a sponsor or a girlfriend. I know some people don't agree with me on half of that, but it's so fun, trying to carry the message to the newcomer. They come in, it's got that new sobriety smell. Like, they're so excited to be sober. You hear, like I have, let me see, what is it? Is it June now? Yeah, so I have a little over 3 months. If I stay sober, I'll have 18 years. But I'm very superstitious about birthdays, so I don't say like I'll have 18 years. I just kind of say what I have now. But newcomers are really interesting with milestones. You know, you talk to a newcomer and they're like, yeah, I'm gonna have a year in 10 months, so pretty excited to get my year. Yeah, but more let me see here. Yeah, more exciting than newcomers is crabby old timers. Oh, they are the best.
Yeah.
They're just so great. You get some crabby old timers and they're like, I'm Jim, I'm a real alcoholic.
Yeah.
Meeting, I never understood. I just sometimes I want to just say like, I'm Josh, I'm a pretend alcoholic. You know, I just come to meetings because of the prestige associated with alcohol and to meet stable women. Struck a nerve there. Okay. And then sometimes you get it. You're in a meeting and this newcomer raises their hand and they just start going off. They're just like, blah, 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 blah. But they don't say their name, you know, and you get a crabby old timer who yells out from the back, "Who are you?" You're like, I don't know who I am. That's why I'm here. Yeah. Let me see here. Yeah, I guess I'll end with this. Vagina owners. Vagina owners clearly have fewer rights than gun owners in this country. That's provable, you know. I don't think that's a hot take. And you know, gotta say, not in favor. I'm a staunch supporter of vagina owners over gun owners. And vaginas over guns, you know. They're just responsible for so much more pleasure. And statistically, all of you, if you're in the test tube baby. But you know, and I'm not saying there aren't dangerous vaginas out there. There are, you know. But a vagina can only ruin one life at a time. You know, maybe two in a very specific situation. But you know, like there just aren't vaginas that can fuck up 100 people at once, you know. Not so with guns. But we've got some VOs here tonight. So I have some I think I have a solution. If you gals can figure out a way to somehow surgically implant a gun down there, boom, you got a whole bunch of new rights, right? Congratulations, you're a gun owner. It's like you're a real citizen now. You know, I'm so sorry. Boom probably isn't the right word to use there. That thing going off. You know, and I don't know how you do that. You know, I'm not a vagina gun scientist or gynecologist, I guess you'd call it. But, I think it would help cut down on sexual assault a fair amount. You know, you put your hand down there when it's not wanted, you could lose a hand, son. You just got finger banged. All right. Thank you. Good night.
Finger bang.
You guys, Josh. Oh my goodness. You know, and you were talking about pretend alcoholics, and then I was thinking, like, what about like alcoholic light? And I decided that's what Ralph Anthony was. So that's pretty cool. All right. Are you all ready for your headliner of the evening? Okay. So this next comic's Midwestern charm and filthy mind has led to comedy success at the Comedy Store, Flappers, and Second City. Please give it up for the very funny Kim Clevenger.
Woo!
Hey, gang, it is so nice to be here with you tonight. Everyone I know is either a sober alcoholic or needs to be sober comedian. Like, there's no in between in our crew. So it's good to be here tonight. And Kim, I love your Carol Baskin hair, and do not miss your Karen hair. I think it's on point. It's awesome. And where did Josh go with his molestache? I don't have any other friends with a pandemic mustache. That's awesome. All my guy friends have grown beards during the pandemic. And yours too? Yeah, I love beards, but they're starting to freak me out because they all have on their mask with their beard hanging out from under it. It looks exactly like my panties trying to contain my unwaxed hoo-ha for a year. It was a 70s porn star kind of year. Woo! And I'm grateful that the waxing salons are open again. Whew. One of my neighbor girls, little millennial Marcy, came back from Target with a home waxing kit. And I was like, girl, do not try this at home. Don't do it. The next time I saw Marcy, she was walking with a limp. She lost her left labia in a horrible waxident. She did. Yeah. And Josh, I might have to actually register my vagina as a lethal weapon after having it locked in the house alone for 15 months. You guys warn everyone in Chicago. And Dante, thank you for the invitation. I was like, oh my God, that's so cool. He does a sober show. Oh, and I'm qualified for the Cougars show. And I'm qualified for the women's show. And I'm just not, I'm not qualified for the women of color show. So I 3 out of 4 ain't bad. It's not bad. And Dante, I want you to know that I did put the live link on my Facebook page. So to all of my recovery friends, thank you for coming to the show. To my dad and all of my religious cousins, shut this shit off right now because it's about to get real. You're going to hear things that you don't want to know. And Sara, I loved your bit about the guys. Like before I did my sex inventory, I was like, well, yeah, I might have been promiscuous, but they were all hot. Then I did my sex inventory. Yeah, the guy that lived in his van was not so hot. I'm just saying. The way I remembered that was a little bit different. And Laura, therapy. Yeah, girl. I love I started therapy in lockdown. I wanted to work through some of my childhood trauma, so I asked for a trauma therapist. And I get to my first session, and she's an art therapist. So I guess I'm gonna paint a picture of my dad yelling in my face as a kid to help me work through my past trauma. I don't know. I actually, when the pandemic started and we thought it was gonna be a couple of weeks, anybody else, a couple weeks, wait for it to blow over, a couple months. One of my friends that works in the military said, oh, you'll be safer in Kansas City back home than you will in LA. So I went back and stayed with my dad and my brother. The 2 reasons I've never been married and drank alcoholically during this pandemic. You know, my dad has always supported my dreams. When I first got there, I said, hey, I'm going to go in the other room and do a comedy show. And he said, well, goddamn, you are going to end up working at McDonald's, ain't you? Makes me feel so. He wants me to leave LA, move back to Kansas City, and get a real job on the line at the Ford plant. Has the man ever seen me with a screwdriver? Like seriously. And my little brother came at me too while I was there. He's like, you need to get off fucking social media and stop doing all these comedy shows and shit and work on yourself. I was like, dude, I'm 20 years clean and sober. I'm 10 years abstinent off sugar. I pray and meditate. I hike and do Pilates. I rescue dogs. I mentor women. I am working on myself. And by the way, my brother used to be my dealer before he became Deepak Chopra. So, but I do appreciate their concern and support. So, I didn't introduce myself at the top. I am Kim, and I'm an alcoholic.
Hi, Kim.
And a cocaine addict, and a compulsive overeater, and a spree spender, and a sport fucker and a chain smoker. Actually, I hope that 20 minutes is enough time to get through all of this. And I do have recovery in all of those areas except one. I am still the president of the club called Take Off Your Panties, Lose Your Fucking Mind. Club president right here. I'm working on it. I'm still a work in progress. So in early sobriety, everything was scary. I remember my sponsor telling me not to date for the first year. So I waited until I took my first year cake and then went to this guy's house I had a crush on and had the worst, most miserable, awkward sex of my life. I thought sober sex was the scariest thing I'd ever been through. And then I tried sober dancing. Have you guys danced? You remember dancing sober at first? Like when I was drinking and doing all that blow, I like thought I was a solid gold dancer out there on the dance floor. I got sober and I was like Elaine on Seinfeld, like, and that's still how I dance. So if you guys want to go out dancing with me, enter at your own risk. And they did diagnose me bipolar right before I got sober. Apparently large amounts of vodka and cocaine can have similar symptoms. So no longer my diagnosis. And I did not, Kim, I didn't watch Tiger King. I think I'm the only one who didn't watch Tiger King, but I just binge watched Halston. Has anyone watched Halston? Oh my God. I was so excited about the fashion and the glamour and Studio 54. And it made me so nostalgic for large piles of cocaine and ass fucking. There was something about it that was so heartwarming. Has anyone on the show done live shows yet? Have you been back out in the world? Yeah. Woo,
Yeah.
woo, woo. I was so excited to get back out there. I was like, oh my God, a live audience. What the fuck are all these people doing here? Oh my God, she's gonna try to hug me. Like in LA, we went from masked up, 6 feet apart, everything shut down to, okay, it's over. I was in a comedy club last night like this, like in the, like, it's a good thing I'm vaccinated. That's all I'm going to say about it. And I was really excited. Is everybody vaccinated? Hands up for the vaccination. I went to get my vaccination and my nurse Brenda was like, honey, you're going to have to move a little closer so I can get at you. And I was like, oh my God, Brenda, no one said that to me in at least a year. Like, so exciting. And the truth is, I got jabbed so I can get stabbed. You know, I've been locked in the house by myself for 15 months. I hope the next man I get a hold of is in shape, has had a good night's sleep, carb loaded and hydrated, because I cannot be responsible for his safety. Yeah, I lost 85 pounds and got in the best shape of my life.
Wow.
Woohoo!
And then got locked in the house by myself. No one's seen anything but my Zoom box in 18 months. And all this Zoom shit is starting to look alike. Like I got to the point that I couldn't tell a comedy show from a recovery meeting. And it's like, this is both. So now I'm really confused. Actually, some of the recovery meetings were funnier. I'm just saying. I did though go through a wild phase when I was 16 to 33. Yeah. Tried to make me go to rehab, and I said, okay. And I haven't had a drink in 20 years. Yeah, I also haven't woken up in jail or naked with a random stranger in 20 years.
Woo.
I'm starting to think there's a correlation. I, don't want to jump to conclusions. It's funny though, because guys still want to buy me a drink on dates. They're like, come on, baby, have a drink. And I tell them it's all sexy, good fun until I blow their best friend, barf in their new car, and burn their fucking house to the ground. Because that's how I party. That's how I party. And did anybody else gain any weight during the lockdown? Yeah, anybody? They said the average American gained a half a pound, and half a pound every 10 days, or for an average of 29 pounds. I was excited. I only gained 10. I've taken 7 of that back off. I'm on a very strict fear of nudity diet. But I used to be a big girl, and in LA, they're like, oh, what? You mean like you needed to lose 2 pounds before the movie premiere, big girl? I'm like, no, bitches. I'm from Kansas City, Missouri. I'm a barbecued rib, macaroni and cheese, fudge brownie sundae kind of big girl, So I've lost about 85 pounds.
Woo!
Thank you. Which is a whole nother program. It's also a big deal to lose that much weight, 85 pounds, unless you want to be on The Biggest Loser. You've got to be 100 pounds overweight to be on the show. I trained so hard. I'd watch Biggest Loser and be like throwing down Doritos and Haagen-Dazs, like fantasizing about having Jillian and Bob put me on the treadmill, work me out till I puked. I was so close, but I'm an underachieving overeater. I can't do anything right. When I did my first inventory in the food program, my sponsor said, "Oh, you're a people pleaser with low self-esteem." I was like, "No, I'm not. I just want everyone to like me. Is that so wrong?" No. So I'm also getting old. Does anyone feel like they aged 10 years in the last 15 months? Holy shit. Getting older is weird. It was weird at first because I started getting junk mail to join AARP. And then I just started getting postcards from Forest Lawn Funeral Home for free funeral planning.
Oh.
I get to have all the sexy fun. And the truth is, I waited too long to try to get hot because now I'm old and hot. I'm like the stripper that works the steak buffet day shift at the Spearmint Rhino. Hot in the low light from a distance. It's like, pull that shot back, pull it back. But I've been thinking about getting some work done. I've been thinking about vaginal rejuvenation. I've been reading a lot about it, but I want to make a deal that if I get my vag done, men my age have to get a scrotum lift. Sarah, cover your ears, girl, because the older they get, the lower their balls hang. And I'm going to need trauma therapy for getting slapped on the back of the legs with balls. I'm just saying. It's true. I'm pretty sure that slappy balls caused my midlife crisis. Yeah. I started dating a really young guy and bought an expensive luxury car. I was a cougar and a Jaguar.
Woo!
Yeah, he's gone. And so's the pandemic, or thanks to the pandemic, so's the Jaguar. So now I'm just a comic in a Kia. Mm-hmm. But I really don't know why people make such a big deal out of older women dating younger men. I dated Megan. He was 17 years older, and everyone they thought we were a lovely couple. And then I started dating Justin, who was, that should have been my first clue. Justin, who was 17 years younger, and everyone flipped out. Apparently I'm getting choked up just talking about him. So my best friend Patricia was like, oh my God, Kim, he's the same age as my son. And if you dated my son, I would kick your ass. Don't make me fuck your son just to spite you. Yeah, my sweet little mom, she was like, oh honey, I want you to be happy. I just hope he's not using you for sex. Use me for sex. Someone, please, God, use me for sex. And only one person mistook Justin for my son. Awkward. But I guess I shouldn't have been breastfeeding him in public. It happens. It happens. I did start comedy and menopause at the same time.
Woohoo!
So if you're wondering what my set's gonna be, so am I. So am I. Yeah. I did start hormone replacement therapy in lockdown though, and that shit is working. Like I have the sex drive of a 25-year-old again. And but dating me is like dating two 25-year-olds. Yeah. Pretty soon Cardi B and Megan Thee Stallion aren't going to be the only ones who need a bucket and a mop. Right?
Oh my God.
Yeah. Too far? Too far? Sarah. I lost her. I lost Sarah. And my doctor just upped my testosterone a little bit, and I really like the energy it's giving me, but I think my prostate might be a little enlarged. So I think I might have to go get that checked. Did anyone see the big news on Instagram that Will Smith posed in his underwear and was in the worst shape of his life?
Mm-hmm.
And now all these A-list actors and comedians are, you know, in their underwear, got that. They're in their underwear, you know, confessing their pandemic pudge. They've got the Big Willie's challenge going to get back in shape. I haven't seen a dick in 15 months. It all looks good to me. It all looks good. As a matter of fact, I'm going to have the Big Willie's challenge right over here in my living room if anyone would like to sign up. If you're on board, I'm down. And I actually prefer dad bod. I'm not dating any more buff guys. Like if I have to hear one more time, how many grams of protein he ate today, how many leg presses he did at the gym, how many reps it took to get to fatigue, I am going to choke a dude out. It's okay to be obsessed, but with my body, mine, not your own. And actually, I'm not as vain as I used to be. You know, I pray and meditate, I hike and do Pilates, I don't drink and smoke anymore, I eat super clean. I mean, I do a few things to feel pretty. I get my hair cut and colored and get my mani-pedis, get facials, lash extensions, Juvederm, Botox, boob job, tummy tuck, couple little things. I was thinking about getting a butt lift, but I didn't want to seem shallow and vain. So I want to love myself exactly the way I am. And I appreciate you all loving me tonight exactly the way I am too. Thanks for letting me come and play with you. My sober brothers and sisters.
Yay!
All right, you guys, that is it. You have been an awesome audience and out there in Facebook land. Please give it up for all the comments you've seen tonight. Comments in here, give it up for yourself. All right, thank you. And we'll be back next quarter. Bye.
Thanks, guys.
Bye.
you.
Meet you
Bye,
all.
Kim. Nice to meet you.
Bye.
Bye.
Yeah, everybody. I was over here cracking up.
Thank you, Dante.
Thank you.
Thanks, Dante.
Bye.
Yeah.
No problem. Have a good night, you guys.
All right.
Yeah.
Bye.